Every single Saturday night, we like to spend a little bit of time talking about the college football rankings, specifically what we think the new AP Top 25 is going to look like on Sunday. It is tomorrow's Top 25. You can read it at cbssports.com. You can hear it right here on the Cover 3 podcast. So we discussed Texas A&M's landing spot. My prediction is that the AP voters will be a bit hesitant on the A&M side. Got them checking in at 6. Right there in that 6-7 Texas Tech range. The interest is how high can Texas get? Because the Longhorns have a head-to-head win against Vanderbilt. Ooh. And now that you've got this win against Texas A&M, you can really start jumping up into the, okay, well, I've got a win against Texas A&M and Oklahoma. What do you have? And BYU opens its pockets and just pulls out some CVS receipts. You're like, okay, well, let's talk. For the record, I do have BYU one spot ahead of Texas, but I do think that is what AP voters are going to be wrestling with right now. That even if there's a 1 loss or even a 2 loss difference, I could see Texas getting some love. My prediction is that they go from 16 to 12. Does that seem right to you?
So passing Michigan, passing Utah,
passing Vandy.
Does Vandy pass BYU?
No. I'm using the AP Top 25 poll where BYU was 11 last week.
Right. That's what I'm asking.
Vanderbilt was 12.
So Miami Texas is 12 right behind them, and Vandy's 13.
So they'd be jumping over Utah, Miami, Vanderbilt to land behind BYU.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, but they also beat the number 3 team in the country in a game everybody was watching because it was.
When we look at voting points, they were what, like over 200 voting points behind Miami and Vandy?
Oh, it's a big jump.
Damn it. Now's not the time to take small steps.
Yeah. I mean, it is truly, I mean, they are the cover photo, Bud. Like when we're saying, like, okay, what's going to be interesting? Like, I don't know, Jack. Not a lot of stuff's moving, but hey, did you know that one of the most interesting and polarizing teams in America might be one of the biggest movers? Maybe that's the thing that we'll use to talk about here, because I think that in addition to the Texas college football playoff discussion, which is not tied at all or specifically to the AP Top 25, but how do these teams stack up against each other? We'll hear from the 12 committee members on Tuesday night, but we'll get to hear from about 63, 64 AP voters in terms of where they think Texas will be. I think the high-low range on this will be massive.
I think it's pretty crap to jump Texas that high, to be honest. I'm not trying to like hot take this for clip it, but like you like played to the wire against a terrible Kentucky team. Florida walked you, Georgia killed you, and you also needed overtime against an awful Mississippi State team. I mean, like that. That's a lot of bad performances from Texas, in addition to the losses.
Were you not listening to Greg McElroy and Sean McDonough on the broadcast? They did not get crushed by Georgia. They were in that game, Bud.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
They were in that game. They had a chance. And that's, that Florida team, you look at their record, a lot of talent on that team, Bud. I don't know what game weren't you listening to? Come on. No, I tend to agree with Bud. That won't shock anybody. I've been on this train about Texas for a month now. But yeah, no, I do think the AP voters will bump them up largely because it was against a top team and it was in a primetime Friday night spot that everybody was watching. And there's not a lot of games, if we're being blunt, where the majority of AP voters are watching.
That's fair.
Louisville, by the way, put that Kentucky team in absolute hell today.
Mm-hmm. They sure did, but that's a really good Kentucky team, and you can beat them. Like, that's impressive, unless you play in a different conference. But speaking of the propaganda hour, I do want to shout out BYU. Or did you guys see their tweet after their win?
Oh, they mocked Steve Sarkisian.
They said it would be a disservice to the sport to keep us out of the playoff, using the same words that Sarkisian used to. For those who aren't familiar, Sarkisian played where?
At BYU.
Right. At BYU.
Quarterback.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. Did not think BYU giving up 14 points off the bat to UCF was great, but that's a different story.
They outscored them 41-7 after the first quarter.
Yeah, I know. Also, just a quick amend. I meant earlier, Miami doesn't have a ranked win since beating Notre Dame, so get out of my mentions. I just misspoke. I know what I'm waking up to in the morning.
Okay. Further down in the ballot, I am not projecting much of a punishment of sorts for the Michigan Wolverines following the defeat. They are obviously a 9-3 team, but the hook here is that while they were ahead of USC prior to this game, a USC team that beat them handily 31-13, I do think that this loss does bring you back into that range where voters are just going to grab them and pin you two together. You know, we're just going to have you two hang out. You're probably going to be ahead of the James Madisons and the North Texases of the world, but you're not winning any arguments to be placed up there close to Utah. So that's sort of where that thing settles. Then we hit the G5 neighborhood where things are mostly the same. Turnover, including Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Pitt, and SMU dropping out. A host of a potpourri of perfectly fine teams checking in. Arizona probably near the front of that. 9-3 season for Brent Brennan. Good.
I'm glad you have them in and not Missouri.
Sir, I said 4 teams are dropping out.
You've got Missouri in there?
I got to listen. I had
Hold on. Hold on.
Should be over Missouri.
Iowa is over. Iowa is in.
How many wins against winning teams does Missouri have? How many, Chip?
Again,
how many hats has Missouri
Chip is
won?
projecting what the voters will do, which is scary because he's so good at this. But it is annoying.
No.
His bias is coming through loud and clear. He's mad at me for yelling at him during the Locks pod all day on Thursday. He's mad at me for the joke about nobody giving a shit about North Carolina. So he's keeping Illinois out of the projected top 25. They won the hat tonight, Chip. They've got multiple wins over teams with winning records. They might have a win over a playoff team if Duke beats Virginia, but hey, Missouri beat Central Arkansas.
You're Tom, like a lot of things, you're right about some, you're wrong about others. I don't give a shit about the North Carolina comment. You can dig in on that all day. Yeah, so I had SMU in there. The show started. I needed a quick replacement. So they were 20. Here's what I wrote from my blurb as we were in a commercial break. They were 28th in voting points in last week's balloting. They were just in the top 25 2 weeks ago. So if you're just scrambling to grab a team, it's possible that a 14-point road win against a 2-9 Arkansas or 2-10 Arkansas team might end up getting them in there. But no, Navy, Arizona, Iowa, there are teams that I think are ahead of them in the order to be able to get in, where, you know, we'll see what other late tweaks need to be added. I get one more after the Notre Dame game is done. I get one more final edit on this, but it's a mess down there. It is just a mess. But that's what
out of context.
Houston is not jumping back in, I assume.
No.
Right.
Yeah. But Bud, those are the options we're talking about here.
Right. Well, Texas Tech fans in our chat are arguing for Houston, so their win over Houston looks better. But
God,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either.
Hmm.
That team was powered by
3. You're putting in these 8-4 teams ahead of them. They had a resounding win over Baylor today by 7. They absolutely smoked UCF a few weeks ago by 3.
I think South Florida's 9-3 is more impressive than Houston's 9-3.
I would agree.
Wow.
Big 12 fans will totally go nuts on you for this.
Here comes hipster G5 boy.
But honestly, it's close. I don't want to agree emphatically.
But that's.
I see the argument. I don't disagree with it. But I don't know. I retract my I agree. I don't disagree.
Your retraction is rejected.